When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Good morning and welcome to VOP This Morning, your daily dose of energy and information to kickstart your day. My name is Masenachi Okafor. And I have someone here with me.
A very good morning to you, Ma. And yes, a very good morning to you out there listening this beautiful morning. My name is David Edwin.
Now, David, you know we had this conversation off air about the fact that Alex Oti has been trending. He has been trending on Twitter because of the fact that he tried to do the Port Harcourt construction, the road. And then some guys said, you know what? We're going to barricade this road and we don't want you to do this job. And he told them, come to Umahia. Just come to Umahia and let's talk this over. And they went to Umahia and he locked them up and told the people working to go back to work and start working.
You know, interestingly, right?
Yeah.
The governor, that is Alex Oti of Abia State, have been doing something amazing. And it's quite strange how a government will want to do something right, and then some people will say, no, don't do it. I mean,
like that road has been bad for years.
It only happens in this climb, and it's quite unfortunate because right now the governor has a very, very big time on his hands.
Well, okay. So this morning on VOP, of course, we always encourage you to follow us on our social media platforms. Follow us on YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV, and on other social media platforms, we are VOP TV Live. First off, we have two stories that we're tracking this morning. And the first story is the fact that in less than a month, Bola Tinubu has called again for a quick meeting in Aso Villa over ailing Governor Rotimi Akeredolu'S ailment. But before that, let's head on to the newspaper to know what the newspaper is saying this early morning. So I'm going to start off with Daily Trust. And remember that Promise Enyi is in the streets of Lagos to know what the people are saying, to get the people's view of what they are reacting to concerning the front pages of the newspaper. We're going to call her shortly. But before that, let's check out what Daily Trust is saying this morning. So the banner headline says, why Naira scarcity persists despite Supreme Court's judgment. And then the subrider says, queues for cash resurface, POS operators hike charges, banks ration withdrawals, complain of cash limit. No need to panic, CBN official says. On top of the nameplate, we have ECOWAS reopens talks with Niger junta, demands short transition roadmap, 2024 budget, works ministry to spend 1 billion naira on grass cutting and 3.1 billion naira on vehicles. Senators donate salaries to victims of Kaduna village massacre. Okay, moving on to, we're still on Daily Trust this morning. After suspending airport concession, FG budgets 85 million for consultancy. Poor primary health care fueling maternal. Poor primary health care fueling maternal child death, says presidency. 16 killed, 27 injured in Kaduna Abuja auto crash. After Daily Trust report, FG goes after kidney traders. And that's all we have for Daily Trust this morning.
All right, let's just dive into Nigerian Tribune, where the banner headline there is saying importers, exporters incur losses as exchange rates hike bites. You find there also review exchange rate policy. The CPPE is telling the CBN. And at the top of the nameplates there, you also find coup on coup. Tinubu wants transition plan for Niger, Mali, and others. And he's also saying he's helping on good governance to address citizens' concern. ECOWAS authority directs standby forces. Still at the top of the nameplate there, you find clap to Tinubu, apply doctrine of necessity to resolve Ondo impasse. He condemns sharp division between Akeredolu'S Ayedatiwa camp, and lawyers differ on forensic report on Akeredolu'S signature. Still on the Nigerian Tribune there, you find Senate committee query the MPA, that's the Nigerian Port Authority, and clarifies $852 million, 1 billion naira levies flagged in audit report. Also there in the Nigerian Tribune, you find how NJC overruled FJSC on Supreme Court. Kano High Court George nomination. Interesting stories here when you talk about the Nigerian Tribune. Still on the Nigerian Tribune, you find Kano Southeast Security, Ohaneze Ndibo to table key demands before Tinubu, and cash crisis hits and anger spreads as POS operators hike commission. There is sufficient stock for economic activities, and this is from the CBN. They're assuring Nigerians. Also on the Nigerian Tribune, you find tough times for Nigerians as developers increases house prices by 70%.
That's really worrisome. 70%? How much are people's salaries?
You know, someone has actually said if the NLC does not come to, or the Nigerian lawyers do not come to the rescue of Nigerians. Yeah, we don't know where we are going after now.
I have serious issues with this whole house thing because it's getting to me, and I know it's getting to every Nigerian out there.
Yes, it is.
It's honestly something else. Are we done with the
two more stories in Nigerian Tribune. 16 dead, 27 injured in Kaduna-Abuja Express accident. That's a sad one, really. Also, the federal government mulls on bonding regional discos for states to have more stakes. Also, down below of the Nigerian Tribune, you find the Tribune is best, of course, for informed commentary and all of that. But for now, that's about it on the Nigerian Tribune.
Okay, so moving on to the Guardian newspaper this morning. The banner headline says, asset declaration, 6 months on, Tinubu's net worth unknown, CSO's kick. And we have a pictorial here of President Tinubu and then the former president of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, stating that his assets in 1999 and 2007 are unknown. And then we also have that of the former president of Nigeria as well. Buhari declared less than 30 million naira in his bank accounts. And his bank accounts breakdown shows $150,000, 2 mud houses, livestock, orchard, and a plot of land. Okay. And then we also have Yar'Adua declared assets valued at 856.5 million naira, yearly income of 18.7 million naira. His wife, Turai, had 19 million naira. And then we also have Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's assets kept secret. So we have a picture of most of the former presidents of Nigeria here declaring their assets, and then people are asking, Why has our recent president not declared his assets? Okay, these are questions that we await his answer. Okay, another headline here says, disclose how much oil Nigeria produces, exports. Serap tells NNPC. FG secures 100 electric buses from Ondo. Okay, we also have $7 trillion yearly funding, worsening climate, land crisis, report finds. Okay. Time to reorganize and adapt state policing. 109 senators donate December pay to Tudunbiri drone victims. Nigeria lost over 15 multinationals in 3 years. And then ECOWAS team negotiates with Niger on return to civil rule. Niger, okay. That's all we have for our newspaper review this morning. And do not forget that we also have our correspondent, Promise Enyi, on the streets of Lagos to take people's thoughts, opinions on today's headlines and all that is making the front pages and that catches their interest. Let's know what the people have to say. Good morning, Promise.
Hello, Moses. So today we're here around Ogba by a newspaper stand, and as usual, we're here to get people's thoughts and reactions on the headlines.
I am talking about the Nigerian army. No. The bombing in Kaduna. Nigerian army have wasted much blood because the one that happened in Kaduna short period ago, it's not the first time, it's not the second time, it's not the third time, it's not the fourth time, and they are promising end. What kind of end is that? People are going, their right or their duty is supposed to be protecting Nigerians that cannot protect themselves. The compensation is nothing to me to compare to the blood that they have wasted and they have been wasting unnecessarily. Do you get it? The money is nothing to me to compare to the blood that they have been wasting for so long. If I'm to be a president of Nigeria, from the chief of army staff to the lowest army, I will resign all of them. In fact, I will prosecute all of them. That is the simple truth. As many as they are that is involved in that mistake, they will not escape my judgment as a president. They've been acquainted with wasting resources. So it is part of their blood. It is in their blood to waste Nigerian resources.
You mean the Senate president?
I'm talking about the Senate. If not, are they different from other Nigerians? Are they not the same Nigerians? When you go to US, something like that cannot happen. Another part of the world that is truly practicing democracy. It can't happen now. So it is part of them, it is in their blood. So even if they collect 700 billion for birthday, it will not shock me because that is part of their blood. It is in their blood. Like as I keep saying, I am a Christian. I have the fear of God in me. When I see people suffering, it pains me. When I see my fellow young Nigerians begging, it pains me. Out of the street, because of situations in their lives, it pains me. And most of these people that is in charge of this world cannot speak good English and they cannot write good sentence. But they are in charge, whereas people who are well educated cannot find their ground to stand in Nigeria. Now, if I am to suggest, honestly speaking, instead of going for 2 tenure, according to ECOWAS, 1 tenure should have been okay. There is nothing for 4 years that you cannot do if you want to do it excellently. Why going for 2 terms? You are prepared to become a president. When you want to become a president by force, you have a reason to become a president by force. You want to become a president by any means or whatsoever. 4 years is okay for you to achieve anything or for you to do anything that you want to do. So no need of going for 8 years, no need of becoming a life president, even in the grave. But in Africa, especially in Nigeria, if even is sitting president now, if you allow him, he will like to go till he die. You understand? Because look at the price of things on the high price, on the high side rather. And to him, it does not disturb him because he has all that he needs. He has all that he wants. Look at dollar. Look at bag of rice. Look at the money that is spent to certain Nigerians, which is not to everybody. And that money is not even for all his 4 years term. That 25,000. It's not for the whole Nigerians. Yes, it has a stipulated time that Nigerians, those people will collect that money. So other Nigerians income, and beside that 25,000, what is it for? Transportation for a whole month. Like me, I pay like 50 to 70,000 as transport. I met a young man who told me that he collects 7-something thousand and uses it for transport. He have to get a job close to his area. So Nigerian and African presidents, if they want to be realistic, let them stop thinking about second term. They should maintain first term. Reason being that they are multiplying suffering for people, and they are not. The worst of it is that they will keep, like the sitting president now is promising, telling Nigerians to calm down. Calming down for what? He too is not coming down for his own money. He's not coming down for his personal needs. But he's not asking Nigerians to calm down. So how long are they going to calm down? It's mind-boggling. You understand? People cannot afford to feed themselves easily now. People that have children, they can't afford to do things right now because they are being affected by the economic meltdown going on in Nigeria. Economic meltdown. Look at the issue of the one they are talking about, compensating the people that died in mistake of bombing. A man that lost his wife and his children, you are giving him compensation. A woman that lost her children and her husband, you are giving her compensation. Imagine that. So it's very disturbing. It's very disturbing. If they truly want to be realistic to Nigerians, they should stop wasting because they are just agents of wasters.
What we are seeing in Nigeria, to me, I believe is not a new thing. We are seeing different things today. It is something that has been happening ever since. That nobody is thinking about the masses. Nobody talks about you. Nobody thinks about you. All they do is their selfish interest. So going in there, you expect that to happen. I don't expect that not to happen. I expect it to happen. It's a very small money for him to even use and celebrate his birthday. What about the one that they use in just renovation, just for cars? And what about the poor masses? The masses are suffering everywhere. As of today, the bag of rice is 17 naira. Nobody is doing anything about that.
70,000.
All we are doing is how they will share the money. Sometimes our federal government borrow money and they share it within themselves. So what do you expect? This is exactly what you expect. So you don't think that something different is going to happen when Akpabio becomes the Senate president. It is what is been happening.
From the streets of Lagos. But quickly we have Mr. Fatuke Ake. He is a chartered accountant and a public affairs analyst. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Masanachi, and good morning, David. Yes. Nice to be here. Good morning, Nigerians.
Good morning. You've heard what the people are saying.
Well, Boys Day, Voice Populi. God has spoken through the mouths of the people. So much suffering in the land, so much disjoint, so much priority misplacement, so much selfishness, so much ego, that the low hangers, as I always say, the low hanging fruits, without you even thinking you should go out of your room, can we map out certain things that should benefit all? No. Because of selfishness. Underpinning the whole of this is lack of trust. People have gone into government, or they have a vision of going to government to go and amass so much to themselves, forgetting the fact that they have just this one life, and like the bulb in a room, it's the switch gang can put it on, can put it off. It can do it for 2 days, can do it for 3 days. In between, technology can fail, and that's the end of life. So, December is looking very bleak for most, even in big cities. He spoke about a bag of rice. It's no more available for the common man. My advice would be, yes, bag of rice. Can we come by way of cooperative and come together and buy a bag of rice and share it between people in a location and stuff like that, and then we spread the cost of logistics of bringing it in. I know it's easier said than done because the average person is also as selfish as the other people that we are pointing fingers at. Everybody's waiting for their turn. My turn, as they say. God will help Nigeria.
Amen. Okay, so David.
It's quite a bit strange when you hear things like this. Not just that it's strange, it's quite, disheartening when people come out like we just heard and they say things like, Nigeria and what is going through. But then let's just run through the final paper, and we'll be looking at the Daily Independent. Now, CBN on the banner headline, CBN considers 500 billion naira a new recapitalization plan for banks. Now that, for me, looks like an interesting story because, so much have been said about the CBN and, the naira not being available. But still on the...
We're definitely going to delve into that because that's part of
yes, definitely. We're going to get that. Still on the Daily Independent, senators donate 1 month's salary to Kaduna bomb victims. And also on the Daily Independent, you find there, freeing Kanu is in keeping with rule of law. Riwa tells Supreme Court. Also, more news. Okay, so let's just dive straight to the top of the nameplates there. There's some news there. Mixed reactions trail omission of Nama Naka Fan from federal government 2024 budget. While Serap asks NNPCL to disclose how much oil Nigerian producers export daily. More news on the Daily Independent there. You also find poverty, greatest threat to democracy. Who is saying this? Dogara. You find all of that and more inside the Daily Independent. And yes, also still talking about the Daily Independent and the headlines here. You find published names of Kaduna bomb victims and pay compensation. Who is saying this? Labour Party is coming out vocal on this one. ECOWAS to deploy standby force to tackle terrorism in Africa, mulls the easing of sanctions against Niger Republic. Also, yes, you find more news still on the Daily Independent. 16 dead, 27 injured in Kaduna-Abuja expressway accident.
All right, Mr. Fatuke, I want to ask you this question I want you to react to this particular headline that says senators donate 1 month salary to Kaduna bomb victims. Is that commendable? Should we actually clap for them?
Naji, we have to say thank you now. I mean, if they didn't, what would have happened? We had a train crash sometime. I didn't hear senators donating whatsoever. We had the Bethel students in Kaduna. We didn't hear senators donate. We also, for the life of me, and with me with tongue in cheek, had a Chibok and we had the Dapchi. Now, am I saying that the senators are going to be like Atlas and carry the whole problem of Nigeria? Not necessarily, but they are key, important stakeholders, partakers of the good, the bad, and certainly the ugly of Nigeria. Should we clap for them? Maybe in our little closet to encourage them. What we need, and seriously speaking now, it's not 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, even 6 months donation of salaries.
Yeah.
What we need is a situation whereby they tighten their belts, they seem excessively garbaged in the mid-regions. They need a situation where they are going to cut some fats. I am aware that they are saying that a lot of the things that they need to do also will have to cost money. I have no doubt about that. Parents, very good parents this time around, still go ahead and do 001 or 000 deliberately for a while to help balance the system and make sure that the children in the house or those they are superintending feel a sense of belonging. So thank you very much, Senators. I hope the House of Representatives too will kind of follow suit, but we need much more sustainable, much more focused, much more realistic cuts in fats of their pecs. And I hope ministers will also follow suit, and I hope the presidency will also follow suit.
Okay.
Having said that, I hope, Masanachi, you will follow suit, and I will have to follow suit.
Okay, we're all patriotic citizens of Nigeria. But then the names of the victims is yet to be published. And so do you think, and then people are saying that the government should pay compensation to the victims. So with what the senators just did, do you think this is going to cover up for the compensation?
I don't think anything can cover up for life.
Yeah.
Again, I am a realist, asking that the names of the victims should be published. Do we have a data print of the people there? We are speaking in the commercial capital of Nigeria, Lagos. If something happened back here in Mapoluku or Shodi and all that, and you say people should publish, do you have a data print of who we are? Again, goes to the root situation of our planning, of our capacity to govern and be governed. We don't know who we are. We have porous borders. We multiply children like like mice. We have IDPs. We have unaccounted people moving around, migration to agglomeration. Outside the borders of Nigeria and under the borders of states. So one of the key things that we need to do is to know who we are importing, who we are allowing to fill our space. But that said, what is the role of traditional rulers? What is the role of emirs? What is the role of local chiefs in little fiefdoms, in little wards? What is the role of development associations? What is the role of I stay here, David, you stay next door. Do I know you? Do you know me? Do you know what I do and all that? Without necessarily infringing on my rights. But I mean, anything can happen. There could be a fire outbreak and all that kind of. We all know a lot of some of the things that goes around here. We are still real rural. The Kaduna bomb, unfortunately, the mishap. I want to still take it as mishap. You know how many people are going to the market? It's only people that the media or the press can talk to, 3 or 4. Do you know people who are staying in deep huts that civilization and light has not been in there, been affected also?
Okay.
But put together, let's try and do something and not do anything at all.
Okay, Mr. Akin, just in maybe 2 sentences, you said something about data compilation. My question would now be, what would be the solution in getting this data? Because data is essential, like you just rightly said.
Not like we can't do it in Nigeria. It's something that...
How do you think that can be achieved? In just maybe 1 sentence or 2?
My first sentence is the will to do it. My second sentence is not to play politics with it. And my third, my third sentence would then be pull the two together, plan. You cannot manage what you cannot measure. It's very, very essential. Let's now break ourselves down and dovetail. The central government is too omnibus and too centralized. Let's allow the states and local governments to come into the space, and finally, let's apply technology. It's done elsewhere. We can do it.
We can do it.
If we decide not to play politics with it, like has always been done since our history started forming.
Yeah.
All right, that's how far we can stretch the paper review this morning. Up next on VOP this morning, in less than a month, President Bola Tinubu has called again for a quick meeting in Aso Villa over ailing Governor Rotimi Akeredolu'S leadership crisis. Details in a moment. There's a lot to talk about in Nigeria today, but then before we talk about other things, we want to delve into Ondo State. In a bid to resolve the current leadership crisis, President Bola Tinubu has summoned the Deputy Governor of Ondo State, Lucky Ayedatiwa, and the State House of Assembly Speaker, Olamide Oladiji, to Aso Villa in Abuja for an urgent meeting. Report gathered from sources that Tinubu will ask that the Deputy Governor should be allowed to act as governor to resolve the leadership crisis in the state. However, the agreement will not prevent a constitutional crisis, as it will not require the ailing Governor Rotimi Akeredolu to resign, even though he is ill and has been unable to perform the responsibilities required of his office for many months. The call for the urgent meeting scheduled to be held on Monday comes after human rights activists and the Revolution Now convener Omoyele Sowore announced the scheduling of a town hall meeting and a mass protest for Saturday in Akure to call on the ailing Governor Akeredolu to either return to office or resign. Now, amidst all this, amongst many others, an Akure-based lawyer and activist, Shola Ajesafe, has accused the embattled Deputy Governor of Ondo State, Lucky Ayedatiwa, and the Commissioner for Energy and Mineral Resources, Rashek Obe, of causing crises in the state. Ajisafe was reacting to the allegation made by Rashek Obe that Governor Rotimi Akeredolu'S signature is being forged on some documents. Speaking in an interview, Ajisafe said Obe's accusation, despite a rebuttal from the governor that his signature wasn't forged, was reckless and irresponsible. We still have with us in the studio Ake Fatuke, a communication consultant, a public affairs analyst, and also we have Nick Agule, a public affairs analyst. We also have with us John Akerele. He's a farmer. He's somewhere around the world, actually. He doesn't like saying where he is at the moment. But good morning and welcome to the show, gentlemen. So I'm going to start off with Mr. Akin. Now, this battle has been on for a very long time. But I want to say this. The fact that Akeredolu, should we say he has decided or refused to take his own pill, seeing that he mentioned when he was the NBA president, when Yardra was the president and he was sick, he said, hand over the power to your assistant. Let him, that's Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. So with all these things happening right now, how do you see it? What's your take on it?
My take on it is that we have learned nothing and we've forgotten nothing. We have decided, some, not all, have decided that they are going to continue to play God, foolish in our thinking, foolish in our process, and thinking that we can continue to depend on our self-abnegating greed. When you continue to play God, God will show you that it's over and above. I am not trying to be over religiosity here. I am only trying to say that sometimes, even if you didn't go to school, you have something you call common sense. And common sense has been allowed to fly off the handle. November 24, Mr. President, I commend him for even making an attempt to call the stakeholders, unlike what we had before, when Rome will be burning and our Nero will be smoking pipe. It's called the second one. It tells me that things are very much untoward, and Mr. President needs to be told a bitter truth.
Yeah.
You can't continue to try the same thing and expecting different results, especially in this kind of circumstance that we have. You are the commander-in-chief, you are the president, you are the father of all, and forget the fact that you are from Southwest. We know what the Wild Wild West, and we know what Ajas Omobiriwo thing led to at a particular point in time, that if you do not put your foot down to do the constitutional requirements of making sure Lucky becomes very lucky by nature of his name, and let him set on. When the cat is away, the mice will come at play. Caution. Edwin Clark has said something. Jonathan, that I'm talking to my revered president here.
Yeah.
That you parrot today to the somebody we should all be looking out at for exemplary character, came under the doctrine of necessity. Do what is right. Do what is noble. And I must say, if you don't do it, the more you delay it, the more the legitimacy and the respectability that Nigerians ought to be controlling outside the shores of Nigeria is dwindling. The more your efforts and your attempts to attract foreign direct investments will continue to be mirage, the more we continue to lose the trust deficit. Let me yield the gun to Neil and Mr. Akeredolu.
Yeah, okay. So, now, what's your take on this? Is it really that difficult now that Shore has said, Akeredolu, it's either you resign or come to your office and start work? What's your take on that, John?
Good morning to you and good morning to my guy in the studio. Good morning to all of our viewers all over the world. My sister, Ondo State is a state I'm very, very particular about. Why? Because it's my state. And Akeredolu is my governor. Lucky Atiwa, His Excellency, is also an old boy of my secondary school. So you can see that I'm in the middle of
Yeah.
issue. But let's look at the issue on ground. These are the issues. The governor was elected by the people of Ondo State. For one thing, for him to oversee and take responsibility in terms of governance of the state. The governor have asked a series of questions that they should give him some time for him to, take care of himself. And they gave that time to him. And after that, the governor is not still back in office. Let me say to you that in leadership, there cannot be vacuum. And for Mr. President to have stepped in the case to say, now, Lucky Aiyedatiwa should be the acting governor. I don't think we should do until Mr. President steps in. I think what is, laudable enough, what is constitutional enough, is the fact that the governor-elect Akeredolu is at the moment incapacitated to lead Ondo State. And as such, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, who were on both joint tickets as the deputy governor, should be sworn in, as the acting governor, and then let him take over leadership. Because if you look at it, who are those who are suffering the brunt of this old shenanigans? It is my dear people of Ondo State. We have not experienced good governance in the past a year or so. And so, you are also waiting for the next electoral cycle. But the question is, the little time you have, what have you done with it? So, if you hear that Showore is clamoring for a protest in Ondo State, in Akure, Showore also is a stakeholder. He's also from Ondo State. And no sane indigenous of Ondo State would just, sit back, relax, and say that the issue of the state does not concern us. We are all stakeholders. We are concerned that other state governors are making efforts to stay forward. But in our own region, despite the fact that we are oil producing states, we see that the revenue that we have and the development that we have do not have equilibrium. And that is why we say there must be somebody who must take the leadership. And Akeredolu at this point in time must just, give in the ticket and take care of himself in Ibadan. He is in Ibadan, so let him end off. And once he's back, Elan Ati, I wish him well, then he can come back and take over that mandate, even though if the time still, persists. But what I think we should look at is that this shows that the kind of politics we play in this part of the world is not a politics of the people. It's a politics of some selected few, a politics of a cabal, a politics of the elite class. Because if it's for the people, you would have come out and said to the people that my people, you can see that I'm not fit. See, my dear, in some other Sena clans, even if you do a rail project and there is an accident, because of that accident on that rail, can be the sole reason why the minister of transportation will tell you that he wants to resign. But we see that in our own plan, instead of them to, to resign, beautifully, even on crutches, on sick bed with drip, still saying that they are the executive governor of the state. And it's not only Akeredolu that has been this okay. He also has a that is learning from. And I know that there are some people also learning from him now. But what I think we should do right now is to make the record straight. Akeredolu is not physically, mentally able and fit to rule Ondo State. And as such, he should excuse himself to take care of his health And by the time he's fit, let him come back. But we should keep the good governance that Ondo people should enjoy at the detriment of Akeredolu'S health status. So we have an able governor, Akeredolu'S, who can pilot the affairs of the state and let him go ahead. Now, this is another thing you should look at. Why is there rancor that Akeredolu'S should not take over as the acting governor? It shows to you that most of the agenda are not oriented. Rather, they are selfish, they are self-centered, and they have so many skeletons in their cupboard. And I know that Akeredolu, one of his fears might be that he look at that today, that there are some things that will be unveiled to Ondo people. And that might be one of his fears why he's still eating on to the power, even on sick bed. Let me give the floor to Mr. Nick.
All right, Jonathan, thank you so very much for your opinion there. Well, I'm coming straight to you, Nick. Good morning again. So at this point, you've had the discussion. What do you think is the potential outcome or resolution, as it were, of this meeting as called by President Tinubu, asking the deputy governor to be allowed to act as governor? Do you have, in your personal opinion, do you support this decision? And what do you think is the way forward afterwards, knowing full well that this circumstance is coming out, it's taking another toll? What do you think? What's your opinion about this, Nick?
Thank you very much. And good morning to you in the studios, and good morning to my co-panelists, and good morning to Nigerians. I am a stakeholder in Ondo State because I did my national service in a place called Akeredolu'S, and I spent 1 year there, and I feel that I am a stakeholder in Ondo State because the state I very much love. You've asked me the question about the intervention of President Tinubu. I think President Tinubu is going about this in a very wrong way.
Why so?
As president, he put his hands on the hook and swore to defend the Constitution of Nigeria. That's what he did when he took over the reins of power. And so he should ensure that the Constitution of Nigeria is respected. The Constitution envisages a situation like this because the Constitution knows that as human beings, we can become indisposed either temporarily or permanently when we are holding public office. So the Constitution has made provisions for how to deal with a situation like this. First of all, the Constitution makes it possible for the governor to cede powers to his deputy by writing to the State House of Assembly. And once the governor takes that step, the deputy becomes acting governor with the full powers of the governor. And that then gives the governor time to look after his health, and if he comes back and writes the State House of Assembly again to say, I am now back in office and I'm taking back power. It's a very straightforward provision of the Constitution. Why is President Tinubu not telling the stakeholders in Ondo State to respect the Constitution? But that is not all. That's not all. There is also another provision in the Constitution where, because the first provision requires the governor to write. So imagine the governor is so incapacitated that he cannot write. Then there's another provision of the Constitution that says the State House of Assembly is to constitute a medical panel to assess the medical condition of the governor. And if the report of that panel confirms that the governor is incapacitated, then the State House of Assembly declares the deputy governor as the acting governor. So that is another constitutional provision. Why is President Tinubu not asking for that to be respected? But that is still not all. the Constitution still provides another way out of this. And that is, if the governor does not right to cede power, and the State House of Assembly, after constituting a medical panel, perhaps maybe the governor does not make himself available to be assessed by this medical panel, then the State House of Assembly is to commence impeachment proceedings against the governor, remove the governor from office, and then the deputy governor becomes the substantive governor.
Okay.
All these provisions of the Constitution are to ensure there is no vacuum in governance. They are to of Ondo State, the good people of Ondo State, get the leadership they desire so that their welfare and security will be guaranteed. So I don't know why President Tinubu is not standing by the Constitution. Yeah. He invited these people to Aso Villa. He told them certain things. They went, but they didn't do it. So I don't know why he now thinks he's going to get out of this second invitation.
Nick,
so my position, President Tinubu should defend the Constitution of Nigeria.
Can you hear us, Nick? Well, thank you for your thoughts there. Now, you just quoted section 188 or 189 thereabout of the Constitution, and that particular Constitution talks about the legislators in the states. Now, the president, like you had said, you feel he's doing the wrong thing. The question now is, do you think that the president is the one who is supposed to carry out this particular law as regards the situation on ground? And if yes is your answer or no is your answer, what exactly do you think at this point can be done to salvage the situation? Because as it stands, looks more like everything is on hold in the States. So what do you think, or who do you think, yes, is supposed to carry out this particular order and law? I'm staying with you, Nick. I think we have a bit of network
glitch. Yes. So we're going to come back to you, Ake, to answer this question.
Yes. So sorry, Nick got frozen. I would have loved to hear
that from him.
Very, very beautiful perspective. But as a tailor, I need to know how to sift out my design. I know to sift out what I want to my cloth.
Yeah.
I need to see if my customer is going to be very happy, even I've spent the whole night.
Just as you're happy with the one that you're putting on right now.
Oh my God, there you go again. And I want to state it very clear. I am not sure. My understanding is Mr. President coming in. It appears like Mr. President coming in to now subvert the Constitution. Those who chose to subvert the Constitution started from the grassroots out there. When Dan Babasuntai got into something similar, and then you had, whether it's family members, whether it's a thought force and stuff like that, said that we just must keep you there so that we can continue to do our mago and stuff like that. The Constitution was clear. We had a president, as at that time, that stood aloof, and things went down the gutters. I know trillions, even though it's a state, trillions will have gone down the drain. Absolutely, it has not helped our politics. When then President Goodluck Jonathan and Turai and so many of the so-called cabals were doing their things when during Yaradua's time, we had a constitution. Do you say we didn't know? Of course they knew the constitution and the way the constitution should have applied itself.
So should we say they just don't want to go by the constitution?
They don't want. You see, the mindset is selfish, is self-centered, and it's unfortunate. And I must commend Akeredolu'S. in his openers, a stakeholder in, just like Nick, a stakeholder in Ondo State. I'm also a stakeholder, even though I'm not from Ondo State, but I know it will have a ratchet effect in other areas. As a matter of fact, it's going to continue to be a very bad precedent. Unfortunately, and ironically, David, Aketi was one of the very few, by my understanding, who tried to transmit governorship to his deputy at the initial stage until politics now then crept into it. Okay. The thing now became a jambalaya. And I think what Mr. President has done, in my opinion, is like the pilot of the ship. Either way, the ship was going to crash. You stakeholders, can we find a way around a situation where we are not going to split the party, we are not going to split Nigeria, and we are going to allow common sense to prevail? Now, what Mr. President needs to do, and that is where I'm in agreement with Nick, is now to put his foot down and say, yes, I have tried to allow a status quo to remain. Now is the tomorrow that we are thinking about yesterday. Since it hasn't worked, please, let all parties revert back to the Constitution. Now, what Nick should also understand...
I mean, Nick is actually back on
okay, what Nick should also understand is, Mr. President now says, yes, that is what the Constitution should say. He has no power to enforce that. So he could say, this is the direction I'm going. And then the stakeholders will go at their different things.
All right, we're going to hold you on that quickly so that you continue.
It's very important for us to understand the fact that, yes, all stakeholders have not acted well. Nigerians have not acted well. The family has not acted well. Akeredolu'S might, like Nick said, incapacitated. Why have we not allowed an independent medical check on him? Who is preventing that? It tells you that there is a little bit much more. Consensus is the name of the game here.
All right. I think Nick is back. Nick,
yes,
if
Nick
you're with us, the question, I'm still insisting that you answer that question. You just quoted section 189, like I said earlier, I beg your pardon, section 191 of the Constitution in the discharge of the functions of a governor. Now, my question is, the president's calling for this truce between these stakeholders. Do you think that it is about the right thing to do? Is he the one to call for this truce, or is the lawmakers in the state supposed to take exactly what the law states on this situation, hook, line, and sinker? What is your opinion, Nick?
Yes, thank you very much for that very good question. Before I answer the question, I would like to say that there is actually a fourth way that the Constitution provides for getting out of this quagmire. So, for the benefit of our viewers, let me say the Constitution provides for the governor to cede power is the first one. Yeah. The Constitution provides for a medical board, and then the Constitution provides for impeachment. And if the State House of Assembly members are not willing to impeach the governor despite everything, the Constitution has the power in the hands of the people to recall the members of the State House of Assembly so that they can now elect those who will go to the State House of Assembly and do what is necessary and needful for the good people of Ondo State. So the Constitution provides all the avenues. My co-panelists say that I said the president is subverting the Constitution. No, I didn't accuse the president of subverting the Constitution, but I only say the president should allow the constitutional provisions to prevail. So in answer to your question, ordinarily, the president didn't need to intervene in Ondo State at all. If all these four provisions of the Constitution for us to resolve this issue were applied, we didn't need the president to come in. But the president is the leader of Nigeria, and Ondo State is a constituent state in Nigeria. And it will be irresponsible for the president to sit back and watch Ondo State degenerate into this chaotic situation without his intervention. So it is right for the president to intervene. My only concern is that he should intervene by standing on the constitution and telling the stakeholders in Ondo State to implement the constitution. By simply saying, oh, they should allow the deputy governor to become acting governor. How? You understand? The question is how? Is it going to be by fiat? Because the constitution provides for how the deputy governor can become the acting governor. So this is what I'm saying. You see, let me be very honest and clear. Nigeria will not work for us all if we don't stand by the law. In the mind of an average Nigerian youth today, they want to japa. They want to leave this country. And let me tell you, I keep saying it, that they are not leaving Nigeria because Nigeria is an uninhabitable place. Nigeria is in a desert. Nigeria is bad. No, enforced to places where the law is being enforced. If you go to Europe, as I speak now, to America or anywhere, the code there is so bitter cold. Why would someone leave, find sunshine in Nigeria to go and be in a bitter cold? Because he's abandoning a lawless place to go to a place where the law is being enforced. Until the law is being enforced in Nigeria, we are not going to have a country that we are all going to enjoy. And this is the point that I'm making. The constitutional provisions are there. Okay. 4 of them in number. Let the president tell those stakeholders in Ondo State, go and do the constitution. That is all.
Now, to John now, the Commissioner for Energy and Mineral Resources, Rashek Obe, has said that he has noticed that Akeredolu'S signature has been forged in some documents. But the people have been, they say that it's not true, that he's trying to cause chaos in the state. But then he still has maintained his stand that he feels that the governor's signature is being forged in some documents. How do you see this?
My dear, that is why I said to you that that is the shape that this vacuum has brought on Ondo State and Ondo people at large, myself inclusive, and every other stakeholder. What is, lawful is for you to just relinquish power when you know that you'll not be in office for a period of either even 180 days, and you've not been in office for over 6 months. So what is the ideal thing to do as a senior advocate of Nigeria? Who is somebody who is presumed to understand the law, and who is somebody who has, held offices in terms of our judiciary, and, somebody who is so sagacious in terms of knowing the law. And I'm so saddened that my governor would allow such a vacuum to bring up different kind of mess. Now, why will there not be such a narrative? If the governor had transmitted power to the deputy governor, as I warned you, and he himself knows the law, if he had done that, would there be a case of somebody alleging that his signature was forged? And so that's why I said to our political class that when we do some things at times, we should be cautious of the consequences of our actions. Because if we don't talk, people will talk on our behalf. When you keep quiet, you don't talk to Ondo State people, some people will issue press statements on behalf of the governor. And that's what's happening now. So if the governor had given power, had given power to the deputy governor to act as the acting governor, there will not be issue of a signature forgery. So my point is simple. And I believe that Akeredolu, with his own caliber and pedigree, if he has nothing, that is hidden or ulterior motive, so to say, if truly his motives are to serve the good people of Ondo State, and he trusted loggerhead to be on the same joint ticket with him, I believe at this point in time, if you say that he should not become the acting governor, then oppositions would have things to feast on. And that means that you are dividing your party even before the next election. Another thing you are doing to yourself is that you are depriving the good people of Ondo State good governance. And what will be your legacy to the Ondo people, that this is what and what you have done in terms of dividend of democracy to the state? What is it that you will say you have done in terms of health? What is it that you say you have done in terms of road, in terms of education, in terms of health, in terms of employment? What are those indices that you can reel out to people in terms of economic growth of Ondo State? So, because you have used over 8 months dilly-dallying on who should be the governor or the acting governor until you go to Aso Rock and come back as if you are toddlers, and you have made governance of Ondo State to be like a chess game, that in fact, the full-grown men will be going to Abuja as if they are secondary school students. And that for me is appalling, is disgraceful, and it's painting Ondo State in a bad light. And that's why I'm calling on all stakeholders, even the state chairmen and the kekemakers of this world in Ondo State, and make sure that they look at how they can uphold the Constitution of Nigeria, which Nick has said in his remark there. And they have given us 4 options. There are members of House of Assembly who should, swing into actions, and the people, the office of the citizen, the Ondo State people at this point should cry out to their representatives. And from Ondo to Ilaje to Igbokoda to Okitipupa to Akoko North and Southwest, if you call your representatives and call them to order, we have asked you that you should represent us. And this is what we want. We want a governor. We don't want a governor in absentia. We don't want a governor who we don't know where he is. We don't want a governor who cannot even speak to us. Right. Is that the governor you voted for? The answer is no. So what I think should be done now is that the Constitution should be followed to the letter. Okay. And my shout out to President Tinubu now is that already your presidency is having some issues, even though Supreme Court has given a verdict. This is also another case study for you to show that you can put this straight.
Thank you very much.
You, John.
Yeah.
All right, up next on VOP this morning, there is no shortage of Naira note. There is an adequate supply of the currency in the economy. CBN has come out to debunk this scarcity of Naira cash. Details in a bit. Stay with us. Welcome back. It is still VOP this morning. Well, the Central Bank of Nigeria has explained the reason behind scarcity of Naira notes in the country. This comes following a series of complaints by some bank customers on the scarcity of Naira notes at the counters, automated teller machines, that's the ATMs, point of sales, that's the POS, and Bureau de change. In a statement issued by the Corporate Communications Department of the CBN, the Apex Bank said the seeming currency scarcity was occasioned by large volume withdrawals of cash from various central bank branches by deposit money banks. It stated that panic withdrawals by bank customers were also partly responsible for the seeming scarcity. The CBN said there is no shortage of Naira notes, currency in the economy. Now we're going to come back to Mr. Akin and, of course, Nick and John at the same time. Of course, these are very, very interesting times when it comes to the economy of the country.
It feels like what happened a few months ago is about to happen again.
I mean, it's becoming outrageous. I'm going to stay with you, Mr. Akin. As it stands, how do you describe this rumor? And particularly, what do you make of this CBN statement?
I make a statement and say thank you, Mr. CBN, Corporate Communication, to try and put some stability in the system, but goes beyond that. The trust and the confidence, not just in the Naira, but in the whole gamut of the monetary architecture, now kissing policy, which I think is a good thing, is now beginning to show some shape. I might look downstream and say yes, panic withdrawal, because people don't have the strength and confidence in the system.
I mean, going full well that there's a retired season coming on soon.
We are still grouping with the macroeconomic disjoints right from the Emefiele's time. A couple of things I know. One, I do not believe that the ill-conceived, well-conceived, I dare say, but terribly bad implemented cashless policy that Emefiele started was mad in politics. And what was that part of the politics? The owners of the banks, I dare say, took directly or indirectly a large chunk of the new Naira notes and hoarded them because they needed to use it for politicking. Secondly, when you have Alibaba and you have 40 thieves, I don't know which one you are going to call a thief amongst the lot. Is it Alibaba that you say is a bigger thief, or the 40 thieves that will learn from the tricks and then supersede Alibaba? The commercial banks now got into the space. It's their own. Anything that you have human intervention in. So they too started to do their own little things. Lately, the POS, you go in there, Naira is still now being traded for as much as 50% by POS operators before that statement. And of course, you go to the counter in big cities, what you are going to find is a bundle of notes. They put 2 or 3 new notes in there, still not talking to the heart of the matter. As an economist, as somebody who looks at the crystal ball, my thinking is that one of the statements made by Emefiele as regards the fact that our currency is in wrong hands of kidnappers, because we saw an upsurge of kidnapping that has also come in. Is government and the policymakers now looking for a way to make those useless in their hands? But given the fact that they don't have enough now, close to about 2 trillion has been pumped into money circulation, and yet we are still talking about scarcity. I think it's much more of a deep malaise. I think we are, thank you, Mr. Cardoso, for the confidence you are trying to impose in the system. It's still not enough. Yeah. It's still not giving us the enough confidence. And what can give us that real confidence, again, is to now begin to intervene as you intervene in the foreign exchange market and try to see that arbitrage is taken away from the system. Bottom line, we are not producing. We are still a heavily consumptive kind of nation. Let's do what is needful. We can't have said that we are going to release 43 or 44 items back to shore up the supply, and people will not have the buying capacity to be able to do. I'm not talking about Masinachi and David here. I am actually talking about the 5,000, 10,000 turnover back in the village space.
Now we still have John.
So much.
Yeah.
I'm going to just switch a bit to John. Okay. You just heard the opinion of Mr. Ake. I was even going to ask him, but then let me switch to John almost immediately. The cashless policy, right? Following these Naira scarcity as well, do you think that this is a welcome development, or is it like a trial and error thing that the CBN got into?
Yeah, John, please.
John, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, John.
Okay. So, for me, I think it's such a sad scenario that we as a country, we are the one that will cry that there is dollar scarcity. And we are also crying there is naira scarcity. Our political class should go and bring out the naira.
John?
Can you hear me? I'm here.
Yes, we can hear you. Please continue.
So I'm saying our political class should ask themselves this question: where did they keep the naira? Because if the naira is not in the bank, my brother, from your councillor to your House of Rep member to your senator to your governor, all of them are culprits. And they have this naira not stuck in banks, but stuck in their houses. How come we have so many houses in Ikoyi? There are houses that you think people are living inside. Nobody's living there. They kept all these naira notes there. There's a mechanical generator that is fueling it. There's AC blowing those naira notes there. And that is to tell you that we are in such a quagmire, and not to get out from it is only God that knows. But our political class should understand something, that when you do all of these things, why will you be so greedy that you stock in money in the house that even your unborn grandchildren cannot finish spending? I think we should, call ourselves to order and introspect to ourselves. Does it really worth it? So if this President administration is saying that there's no naira, don't forget the issue of naira, new naira note and old naira note. We said it was politicking. Now politicking is over. Governance has come. Now the reality of ground is showing on all of us now that the scarcity of naira, same country, scarcity of dollar, scarcity of naira. Maybe we'll go back to coins. At least, if we go back to coins, I want to see how somebody will be able to lose billions of naira in coins in their houses.
John.
And let's see how that goes.
Are you there, John?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes,
now,
yes.
I would want you to just answer this direct question. Now, this particular reason of naira scarcity, right, is the major reason why the likes of Emefiele is being prosecuted presently.
Now, yes.
And the situation is still the same with this government. So what and how do you think this can be solved? Do you think this present government is doing something wrong when it comes to the prosecution of Emefiele?
And to think that most of us actually hoped that something like this would not crop up during Tinubu's regime.
Exactly.
That it happened at the end of Buhari's regime, and now we're having this. So should we say this is more political? Should we say that the now president of Nigeria is not doing something to curb the cash crunch?
My dear, let me not lie to you. It's same as same. Tinubu only wanted to become president, just like Buhari, just for the name and for the position and the power, not to do anything for Nigerians. Okay? That is the bitter truth. And so, if there was cash crunch before election is gone now. There's still the saving of cash crunch. That shows to you that there's an underlying factor that we use politics to cover instead of looking at the metrics and the indices. And now we can look at this thing as a problem holistically and provide solutions by ourselves. But we were beclouded by politics and say, oh, it is politicking. They don't want us to spend money. Now they've abandoned new Naira notes. The old Naira notes, it doesn't even enough in circulation. But ask yourself, how can you print Naira notes in trillions of Naira? And you check what is in circulation in your banking system is not equivalent to what was printed. Where did the money go? That's the question we should ask ourselves. And who will have this money is our political class. All right? So our political class needs to get their acts together and ask themselves the bitter truth. The senators, those of you that have kept Naira notes in your drums, under the tank, in your GP tank, some that have even built house for Naira notes. Please, the country needs the Naira notes. Bring it out now.
All right, John.
So,
thank you, John.
Thank you, John. Aki, to think that I actually went to withdraw money on Saturday, and then after standing on the long queue, I could not withdraw any money. I wanted to cry. I felt like crying. And then I remembered what happened a few months ago during the cash crunch. And I started asking myself, please, not again. Because a lot of people would, it would not be funny because POS operators are taking advantage of this. Seeing that in a statement issued by the Corporate Communications Department of the CBN, the Apex Bank said the seeming currency scarcity was occasioned by large volume withdrawals of cash from various CBN branches by deposit bank, money banks. I mean, shouldn't this cash be going around? Should there actually be a limit to the amount of money in Nigeria and who work so hard to make their money? Should there be a limit of the amount of money they should withdraw per time? And then to add to that, I'm going to just quickly say this. So what do you think would be the solution since this is presently facing us?
The solution will be for us to face facts and leave politics. I disagree absolutely that President Bola Tinubu is not making an attempt to correct a collapsed, terribly compromised economy that was sinking. An attempt is being made, so we should be clear about that. Yeah. Now, what kind of attempt, what kind of palliatives, what kind of anesthesia are you going to give to bring life back? Will take a bit of a time. Am I therefore saying that the handling is perfect? It can't be perfect. It can't. It can't even score up to 10-15% of something that is down below. Yeah. I also think that as a manager who has sworn to an oath, got there, saw so much wrath, I also disagree that Emefiele is being wrongly persecuted. He's answering to his sins.
Why do you disagree to that? He's
answering to his sins. He did incalculable damage to this country.
So you think it was political?
Not political. I said he did unmitigated damage to this country. I don't know when we are going to get out of it. Hang on. Let me just make the point.
Okay. Yeah.
So the point now is, what should we be doing? I think we need a short, medium, and then think about the long term. I am suspecting that rather than go through ways and means, rather than continue to just print Naira notes that is going to cost a lot of money, and that a lot of money that is still hidden, like John said, in tanks, then not all fully spent, and are trying to come back, and they are looking at it and say, will it come up will he not come and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Masinachi, you and I will end up suffering. Look, when President Muhammadu Buhari and Emefiele incidentally placed some items on ban, it would have been for a very good long-term projection for Nigeria, but we were not producing. So what did the central bank do? They came in to try to show up the demand and supply. That's a good point. That's a good way of looking at it. So what needs to be done, therefore, now is, one, what the central bank has done, and to say, look, you don't need to panic withdraw. Secondly, to massively begin to mark the Naira notes that they give to commercial banks.
Yeah.
And then allow regulation. Nigerians should have to allow regulations. David, if I've given you 500, I want to see how you have dispensed the 500. You are just going to be like me in my industry that we are talking about oil and gas. I have supplied you fuel. You have decided to go and keep the fuel in your underground tank, believing that so what should be the midstream regulators doing? If I've given things to you, I want to see what has gone out of your tank. So the regulators must now come in and then begin to make sure to do two things. They know themselves. You punish those who are doing the wrong things, Mr. Central Bank, and you begin to reward those who are doing the right things. In no long period, you begin to see, like in osmosis, concentration of good over the bad. But that we are not going to be in this kind of quagmire, 6-7 months, somebody is lying to one another. We have a damaged economy, we have a damaged policy, we must do it systematically, but we must progress very quickly so that the poor people do not suffer.
You mentioned that Buhari and Emefiele did what they did during the... But then why is no one questioning Buhari as well?
Policy-wise, they had a good, in the eye of an economist like me, but it's based on a foundation that is not there. You cannot be saying that you are going to take staple food out of, on the prohibition, put it on prohibition list, when you know you are not producing and you are telling us lies that you are having rice pyramids out there. And back to the bottom line, you said, why is Buhari not also being prosecuted? Says who? In my mind, the buck stops on Buhari's table, just like it's going to stop on Tinubu's table here. And Buhari has come out to say he was overwhelmed, and he was, and people started to dribble him round. He was not hands-on. He trusted. He delegated without ensuring that whatever delegation he's made is being put to the letter. That is not what we are seeing with Bola Tinubu. I must say that. So all hands must be on deck. All protagonists and antagonists must come to one conclusion. We have been badly managed. We can be better managed. We are not getting the trust. President Bola Tinubu is showing crass deficiency in helping to build that trust. There's no doubt about that. And we must continue to make the right noise, the right decibel for him to now then say, hey, Mr. President, maybe you don't know. Now that you know, can we begin to have some corrective measures?
Okay.
All right. Nick, I hope you're still here with us. I'm going to ask you 3 questions in one, and I hope you really get all of it. Now, the cashless policy, in your opinion, do you think is a welcome development or is a trial in error for the CBN following this time it started? That's one. 2, the issue between past CBN governor, and I'm talking about Governor Emefiele, and him acting on the authority of the presidency. Do you think that because he is the CBN governor, he acted right on those orders? And then the final question, what advice would you give to people out there, Nigerians out there, And I mean, should they brace up themselves for this situation or something else to come? Nick, I'm on you on this one.
I don't know if Nick can hear us. Is
you
John
there?
there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I have dual residency, so I live in the field. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can
definitely.
hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
can.
we can. Please go on.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Clearly.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, Nick.
Are you able to hear me?
Clearly, we can hear you clearly.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I
think
there's a
was
bit of,
having-
network.
Okay, yeah.
I was about to say that. Yes, I have dual residency.
Okay.
I live in Nigeria. I also live in the UK.
Okay.
We're having a network.
Even in the UK,
I think we're having a network.
there is still cash being used. It will be interesting to know that in the UK, you don't find ATMs only at bank branches that we have in Nigeria. In the UK, you find street corners, even in the post office.
Okay. I think we'll have to move on to
Yes.
Ake to finish up where
I suppose it's unfortunate
so I guess
that
you're going to give us your final thoughts as well.
yes, it's unfortunate the thing froze.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to do a comparison
Yeah,
and
Nick
say
had a lot to say.
and say that even in the UK you have little pockets here and there. The challenge I have with such comparison is UK cannot be Nigeria. We are just totally different. The UK has a written constitution, but they have a sense of shame to now know that certain things you should do should not be done. And in Nigeria, we have a written constitution. We survive that constitution. We don't even think that constitution is working. And we reprobate and appropriate. If it is going in our own way of thinking, the constitution is working. If it's not going our way, the constitution is bad. When we know that the template of the constitution is really bad. Look, in the first place, when it comes to the issue of monetary, cash, it was you that was making the point about are we ready for cashless and stuff like that. It's a good thing for us to go, but we're not ready. We knew that we were putting ourselves in a car that has no extra tire. We knew that. But then we allow politics to now get into the space. The penetration to the rural areas is still very low. And technology, now hampered by Jackpa or no Jackpa, the technology that we have here have voted with their legs out there. So a lot of the challenges the commercial banks are facing now is because a lot of the techies have gone overboard. Luckily, we now have a gentleman who understands the nitty-gritty of data print and who understands the nitty-gritty of making sure that we roll out in a systematic way, now being supported by Google, being supported by, Mark Zuckerberg himself, who has come to our Silicon Valley and said, look, not everybody should go to school, but we can have technical colleges that will be able to help us support this, so long as we get our governance in place. So long, Masinachi, you are a lady. I do not see any reason why you cannot represent me, or I begin to now then say that because you are a lady, you can't lead me. makes no sense. Where I see somebody who is physically challenged, but who God has endowed with not only the brains, the capacity and the compassion to lead me, even with my 2 eyes, I should fall behind that person.
Yeah.
What I'm just trying to say is that cashless is the way to go. Starting point is to get the data print. How many of us are here? Who are we? What is our demography? We must do a population census that is not shorn of politics.
Yeah.
And David, for crying out loud, I'm sure you are aware that in sub-Saharan Africa, in fact, the whole of Africa, in fact, when you now compare us with the world, our tech, our fintech, is second to none. In fact, in the US, in the UK that Nick was going to talk about, they still look back to us as we have all the capacity to be able to do it, but we have not gotten our politics right. I mentioned the fact that we have a broken economy. We have a broken country. We don't have trust. Unfortunately, in the attempt to want to take ourselves away from the trust, those who are ruling us are giving us very bad news. They are not living according to example. They are doing the wrong thing. They are looking for funds elsewhere when we haven't put our own house in order. We must jointly say to ourselves, look, after being down, like in Rwanda, like in Kigali, the only other place to go is up and not the other way around. I personally have inmate confidence that we have a few people in this government. They are young, they are tested, they know what they are doing. We should just tell them, please hurry up in a little bit, apply technology, apply rule of law, apply character, apply compassion. You know the people. They know. We know the people. We know them.
So
they are
Nigeria
politicians.
can only get better.
Nigeria is going to get better.
So we are hopeful
we
that
know
Nigeria
them.
will get better.
Go after them. Pull them back. And allow Nigeria to breathe.
Okay, and that's it for today's discussion. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being on the show this morning. To our virtual guest, Nick Agule, Chartered Accountant and a Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you so much. And in our in-house guest, Aki Fatuke, a Chartered Accountant, Communication Consultant, and a Public Affairs Analyst as well. Thank you so much. And to John Akerele, political enthusiast and analyst, as well as a farmer who doesn't like us saying where he's answering us from. Thank you so much for being on the show this morning. And up next is business news, entertainment gist, and sports stories. Stay with us.
There seems to be scarcity of the Naira note across the country, despite the announcement by the Central Bank of Nigeria that the old Naira notes are still considered legal tender. Recalling that the CBN had affirmed that it has enough currency notes in the market and hence no need for panic withdrawals by members of the public. Despite this announcement, there seemed to be a looming Naira scarcity and somehow Nigerians seem to be calm about it. Or should we say they are ignorant? Now let's go into the street of Oshodi Solo to hear what the people has to say.
Our leaders, they don't misleading us. They are bad people. You understand me now? They know they are fighting for their own pockets. You understand me now? They didn't like us to vote them in. But look at everywhere. It's not easy. First scarcity, another one is coming again.
The thing is that it should not be like the previous one because so many people died. So many people died due to that scarcity. But due to this present situation of the country now, they should look into it and do the appropriate things.
We should pray to God so it won't happen. This is our new president now, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I pray for him. Let God give him long life so he can do it very well. You understand me now? So Nigeria have spoiled since many years. We don't have a good government. We have a bad governors, a bad government that we have. We'll just pray to God that maybe God will let him to try his best and do it for us.
Then the bank, they should try to provide enough currency, cash, so that when people go there, they will be able to collect cash.
Well, that is it for today on Voice of the People TV. If you enjoy our content, kindly follow and subscribe to our YouTube page at Voice of the People TV and at VOP TV Live on Holo.
The sentiments surrounding the administration of Muhammadu Buhari and that of Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration is complex. Now, let's listen to what Nigerians had to say whether they prefer the administration of Muhammadu Buhari or that of Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
My name is Akeredolu'S, comrade. I'm a member of National Union, workers in Lagos State, under Alhaji MC Oluomo, Akisanya, number 1. Well, presently, things are very bad in the past, and to correct it, it's not easy. But with patience, we will see the results.
Tinubu regime, which we see, we are seeing a lot of progress, while I believe the common man, it's becoming more difficult for the common man because of the rates of inflation out there. But it doesn't mean the economy is not moving, it's moving. But when we make policies like this, we need to look on the level of the common, the less privileged in society, because it affects them the most. Every decision we take at the top affects them the most. Like in this decision, most people will tell you we are not progressing, we are not moving forward. But the actual fact is that we are moving forward, but it is becoming more difficult for the less privileged in society. So most time, what my advice to them is that whenever they make policies, they should find a way to bridge the gap between the poor and the rich so that the society will be balanced.
What is happening? From, I think 6 months now, thereabout, that Tinubu has been in power. In short, everything has gone haywire. Nothing, no single onions. You see, they are selling onions around here. You cannot buy onions 15 naira again. You can, the smallest onions you can talk of now is 100 naira, 200, 300, 500. You talk of tomato, one seed of tomato, one, not be say a whole bowl. I'm talking of maybe 200 naira. Why during Buhari, some tomato used to waste, but I don't think during Tinubu tomato waste again.
The current and the previous, I'm not cool with both, because we've experienced a lot of drama in this nation. So I'm not cool with the both. I prefer the older regime, okay, compared to the previous and the current. I'm talking about the PDP regime, all right? So, you know, since democracy is just PDP and APC that has been ruling, so I prefer the PDP regime compared to any of the APC's regime. That's just my sincere.
Far difference, so things are very, very costly. The exchange rate is too high. So this before we are buying this shoe, if we are not buying this shoe, you are buying this shoe like, let me just say 2005. But now the cost price in my hand only for 5,000 naira. So the difference is much. The exchange rate is too high.
Welcome back. On business, more industries that are dependent on imported raw material may shut down in the coming months, while Nigerian customs service revenue is expected to decline as imports through official channels become more difficult due to high imports. The Central Bank of Nigeria had last week Thursday increased the exchange rate for cargo clearance from 783 naira to $1 to 952 naira to $1. The federal government is planning to rehabilitate the construct 1,925 roads and highways across the country in 2024 budget proposal. The government also allocated 548.56 billion naira for road construction in 2024, with the East-West and Benin-Akure roads getting 2 billion naira and 3.75 billion naira respectively. This is, however, separate from the 288.44 billion naira allocated for the modernization of 329 roads and bridges in the 2023 supplementary budget. We'll go for a quick break right now. When we return, the entertainment segment will be up next. Stay with us.
Yeah, it's the entertainment time on VOP TV this morning. Mercy Ayibe has said, I converted to Islam out of love for my husband. What a love. Veteran actress expressed her admiration for her husband, Kazim Adoti, emphasizing that her love for him made it very easy for her to change her religion. Additionally, her stress-free persona made the switch to embrace Islam even easier for her. And she also said, I love my husband so very much. I'm such a lover girl and I'm very emotional and I love love. I'm a 45-year-old woman and I'm responsible for my actions and decisions. So my family didn't say much. The thing is, when it comes to religion, I'm a very liberal person and I love my husband. It's all exciting for me because I'm learning the religion and everything. So it's very exciting. But at the end of the day, we all serve one God. And remember that back in April 2023, the actress stunned her fans on social media by announcing her conversion rites before Ramadan began, revealing her name as Hajia Mena Mercy Adoti. Okay. On that day, she expressed her joy, saying, I am so excited. I feel fulfilled actually. This is actually my first Ramadan lecture. And then Ramadan is one of the pillars of Islam. It's like gathering people and letting them be aware of what Allah. She said a lot of things. Moving on to Burna Boy. Burna Boy said, why people hate me? Do people actually hate Burna Boy? Okay, so Burna Boy, of course, he's a well-known musician from Nigeria, and his name is Damini Ogulu. He has provided, he has explained the fact that Nigerians actually hate him. The self-proclaimed African giant says his inferiors despise him. Okay, his inferiors despise him because he has no superiors. Okay, and he recently said that Afrobeats is meaningless. Burna Boy shared a photo of himself on Twitter and wrote, hated by my inferiors for having no superiors. Burna Boy. Also, he said, thank you, a track off his later album. I told them Burna Boy insinuated that Nigerians don't appreciate him enough, despite making the country proud every chance I get. So Burna Boy.
Now, I was going to ask you.
Burna Boy is too proud of himself.
Well,
he's too proud.
That comes with being African giant. I mean,
well, even if like is Nigeria not African giant? Are we proud?
The thing is, I like his confidence. I'd rather say he's very.
Is that confidence or pride?
No. I'd rather say his confidence.
He's too proud.
But then again, in this game, you would have quote unquote haters and people who love you.
Yeah.
Right, but my question would be, is he focusing on the people who loves him?
Because why are you focusing on people that hate you when you have a lot of persons that love you?
Major in the major.
Are you a Burna Boy fan?
I'm a fan of good music.
I'm watching you with bombastic side eye because I feel like you are his fan and that's why you are saying.
I'm just a fan of good music, honestly.
Are you sure? Okay, so moving on the teas on social media. You are killing us. Singer to clubs selling fake drinks. Okay, that's BNXN says the popular singer Daniel Benson, also known as BNXN, has warned Nigerian clubs that sell fake drinks to desist from crime, saying that they are killing their customers, and then he threatened to call out the next club or lounge that would sell fake drinks to him. On his X handle on Sunday, BNXN wrote, "Stop selling us fake drinks. After spending so much money on the overpriced drinks, You are killing us. Respect my health. Respect my money. Give me what I pay for. If you don't have it, don't bring a fake one. The next club or lounge that does this to me, I promise I will take that microphone from the hype man and let you know. Okay, now selling of fake drinks
I was gonna ask,
to people in clubs.
Is he a major when it comes to drinks? Does he know more about drinks than music now?
But maybe the reason why he's saying this, maybe because he has noticed that, okay, I've had this drink for maybe a couple of times and it's not really good in my health. Maybe he has had to visit the hospital or something. And then he's saying, but then this is not the first person coming out to say that fake drinks are being sold in clubs.
Well, I would say right now that they are celebrities.
So they should take fake drinks.
No, I'm getting us somewhere. They are a face of the entertainment industry, right? They should try as much as they can to also, manage how they go about this drinking, because for the moral sake of it, you don't have to keep...
I'm still looking at you with bombastic side eye because I don't trust.
That's a very good eye.
And that's all we have for entertainment this morning. Up next is sports update from James Adoyi. Stay with us.
Audio Jungle.
James Adoyi is here for the sports update. Whenever I see you, James, my heart skips.
Why?
Because I don't know if Manchester United is making me proud or not.
Funny, you're not making you proud.
Oh my God, my heart is broken.
Well, we'll get to that. Morning to you, David. Morning to you, Marcy. So now for Manchester United, you guys lost over the weekend.
Oh my God.
A very disappointing defeat for that matter. Losing at home to Bournemouth at Old Trafford is actually a very bad one. Making your first loss at the Old Trafford to Bournemouth in years. But before we go to that, Victor Osimhen, tonight is the CAF Awards. We know Victor Osimhen has made it to the top 3, and we are rooting for Victor tonight. We want him to win. I know he has people contending with him are very strong also. We have like Mohamed Salah and Hakimi. But we'll be rooting for Victor.
We're rooting for Victor.
Dave, who do you think will be coming on with that award tonight?
Oh, well, Nigeria all the way.
Nigeria all the way. So it has to be Victor, just Victor. And we hope he comes out with it though. Yeah. So moving on, let's talk about Real Madrid. Real Madrid are in the news currently. We saw the head coach Ancelotti coming out to say he's not expecting Vinicius to return back to the team till January. We know Vinicius was injured some weeks back during the La Liga winter break. And it's like sidelined with thigh injury currently, and will be out till January. It's actually very, 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 very wrong one, and I think January is not actually far again. We're already
January is next month.
Yeah. January is next month, but
days from now.
Just a few days from now.
No,
and,
you're making it too close. I don't like it.
No, we just hope Vinicius comes out from injury soon. And it's not just Vinicius. We know we have the lives of Camavinga also injured. Yeah. And currently Madrid are actually going through a phase.
A good part for me is the fact that Carlo has a way of managing his team, whether he has an injury or not.
He's an experienced coach. That's what comes with having someone that's experienced in the job. He just comes in and mix what he have, make from what he have, and get to. And I think they were lucky enough to get the result against Betis over the weekend. Congratulations to them actually, and wait and see what comes out of their competition going forward. Now moving on to another story, we had a lot of EPL matches over the weekend. We also saw a lot of disappointments for most of the teams. Actually, started off Crystal Palace started off the weekend with when they hosted Liverpool, and the match started and we saw Crystal Palace ahead at first. And we think, okay, it's going to be a part of the early kickoff drama where we see the big teams coming over and losing at the first match. Yeah. Funny enough, after the red card, the whole game changed and Liverpool came from behind and got all 3 points. Goes from Mohamed Salah at the 76th minute, and also Elliott late on into the extra time, and he gave them the whole full 3 points. Later on, we saw Burnley also welcome travel to Brighton to get to battle it out, and it ended in a 1-1 draw. Later on, we also saw Manchester United host Bournemouth. That's actually a very, very sad one for Manchester United. Manchester United currently are taking a step forward and like 3 steps backwards.
We're going through a lot right now. We're going through a lot.
Before we move forward, David, sorry, what club do you support?
Painfully, I'm a Manchester United
Wow.
fan now.
Oh, okay.
So we are going to
you used
I was specific.
You said for now. So you mean in weeks from now you can still something can still go happen and you move on?
Well, the truth is I don't have that long span like an Arsenal fan who does not win trophies.
Okay, shots fired.
We know.
Arsenal fans.
And I was coming to Arsenal actually, but Arsenal also lost their match against Aston Villa.
Oh yeah, most
of
of the big teams did lose.
Yeah, most of the big teams also lost their matches over the weekend. We were even surprised. Arsenal's one was shocking actually because we saw a lot of bad calls. They had play for a penalty and a red card.
Aston Villa had been playing good.
That's true. But within the match, we also saw crisis where times where they should have gotten red carded and the goal should have stood. By some Arsenal fans, I don't know if that's true, but that's what we have for them. Yeah. And also on Sunday, we also saw Manchester City and Luton Town. Manchester City started the game very well. But Luton Town. I'm sorry for Luton Town. I'm feeling sorry for them because after battling Arsenal last week and Arsenal escaping with a narrow win victory through the last minute, and also Man City also coming to escape with just one goal. I think they will actually bounce back from this because surviving both Arsenal and Man City in a week with just one goal difference is actually a very good one. I think the boys should be proud of themselves. And moving on.
Well, truth is, if you want to stay in an A league like the EPL, you have to bring your game.
That's true, actually. And also Chelsea now. Chelsea also lost over the weekend.
Chelsea.
I feel sorry for Chelsea fans. Actually,
you're a Chelsea fan, right?
No, I don't.
What's your club?
I'm a lover of good football.
It's a lie.
Anything that feels good football, I'm in support of them. But I actually feel sorry for Chelsea fans. Actually, they lost again. I don't know if it's a coach problem or a team problem.
Chelsea is like the Robin Hood of EPL. They take from the big team and give to the small team.
But Everton is actually not a big team for now.
Do you know Everton after losing that 10
points they are back?
An unbelievable lion.
I think that team it failed the
like
team.
That's a really big ginger in the local balance.
But I don't feel sorry for Chelsea, Sha.
Their fans are too lousy, right?
From a banter point.
Yes. Well.
Okay. And the last match of the weekend was Tottenham hosting Newcastle, and Tottenham coming victorious after so much. 3 or 4 matches without a win and coming out to get up to the point. It's actually a very good one for Tottenham. And Newcastle, I don't know what to say about Newcastle. Is it the injury problem? Is it? Well,
this is actually the surprising one for them.
Exactly. And what do you say I have to say about Fulham and West Ham?
But you see,
5-0 is actually a lot for West Ham.
Okay, so here's my understanding of football, right? Yeah. It's like biscuits. You don't know where it's going to crack. So, this
okay, that will be that on sport. Victor Osimhen, we are rooting for you tonight. Just come home with the award.
We're rooting for you.
Do us proud as you have always been doing.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And that will be that on sport.
Thank you so much, James Adoi. And that's the size of the show on VOP this morning. I'm Master Nachi Okafor.
And my name is David Edwin.
Well, thanks for staying with us. Do have a wonderful day. And do not forget to join us subscribe to our YouTube page. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV. And on other social media platforms, we are VOP TV Live. Stay tuned for more programming and have a wonderful day.